Before we start today's show, today we want to give a big shout out to Buzz TV. Man, Buzz TV has some really good devices, man. Like this last year, they've come up with some good stuff, and this new year, I'm excited to see what they got.
Yo, it's going to be straight fire. Some devices and features, because I don't want to say one or the other. With Buzz TV, it's hand in hand. They've dropped some fire devices and some amazing features that are always taking things to the next level.
So don't forget to check out the description below.
You know, no matter where you guys are listening, watching, whatever from, make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button, that like, drop us a comment, and the reviews actually help us a great deal. If you're looking to do anything for us in this year coming and beyond, the reviews help other viewers like yourself find this podcast and enjoy it as well. So thank you guys. And with all that being said, let's start the show.
And we are live. I'm like, hold on, I need to buy me some freaking Dogecoin before I lose the.
I'm just going to start this episode off and say we are recording this on 420 when it's apparently Dogecoin Day, it's Apple Day, it's anything day, it's if you indulge in certain plants day. So Dogecoin is doing some funky things lately, and we are watching it very, very closely. So if you see us having a certain form of Dogecoin Tourette's, then you'll know why.
Yeah, having a panic attack right now. There's supposed to be some kind of jump today, some kind of push. So we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, let's kick it off with Amazon Prime Day. Kick it off with Amazon Prime Day 2021. I know we briefly talked about this before, the rumor of when it was actually coming. And this is everything we know about the big Amazon Day for 2021. Now, this article came out early this morning. Dates, deals, including our predictions of the biggest discounts. So we were actually looking at it coming in June, but it looks like it's going to be in July again. They're pushing it to July. So I hope this doesn't come out like last year, how they said, yeah, July, nope, September, nope, October, kept pushing it. It was just insane. So they're saying that things are slowly getting back to normal. Shipping, delivery, everything's starting to get into that next day time frame again. So they're looking that it's going to be the month of July again. Which I don't know about you, but I'm actually pretty excited about that. That things are back. They're slowly going back to normal, and that it is going to be coming in July now.
We're kind of the reverse over on this side of the border. Things are actually getting worse for us during this pandemic. There was actually an article that was put out this morning saying that if businesses have a certain consecutive amount of COVID cases, they're shutting down the business for, I think, 10 or 14 days straight. It's and they tried to implement an order where the police would stop you if you left your house, and they would charge you $750 for leaving your house. But the chief of police where I live said that they weren't going to do that. They're like, no, we're not doing that. So maybe it depends on where you live. We'll only really know when we get closer and closer. Even if there is any kind of delays, I would only see it being shipping delays. Like you should still be able to purchase the products. It just might take longer than a day to get to you.
Yeah. So with all that being said, I guess the big question now is what's going to be on sale? So this is the stuff that they're including, that this is like an absolutely for sure coming. All Echo smart speakers and displays, they're all going to be on sale. All the Fire TVs, Fire TV sticks, all the Fire tablets, the Kindle e-readers, Ring security devices, the whole lot of them. and the Eero networking products. Along with that, they're also going to see deals on pots, Apple AirPods, Bose headphones, Roku streaming devices. And they're saying that there's going to be a lot of surprises this year that you typically don't see go on sale. So there's not like a full list of stuff. They're just saying that this will be Amazon's Prime Day biggest sale that they've had yet. And I want to say last year, Amazon Prime Day kind of sucked. I remember Next Level, you were telling me last year that you weren't really much of a like, ooh, let's see what deals are going to have until last year. And I think I might have hyped it up. I might have overhyped it up a little bit because usually I'm like, ooh, dude, they're going to have some cool sales.
Well, the thing was, I think we've talked about this, a bunch of times since the last Prime Day, right? The last Prime Day, people walked into it expecting a different kind of Prime Day. And because of that, they were expecting certain products to be on sale, which weren't. It didn't mean that it didn't have good sales. It just meant that the typical sales and the typical Prime Day wasn't happening, right? And what I also wanted to point out is that this year is going to be very interesting as we get into the end of it to see what kind of sales we get. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of companies that are skipping generations of their products right now, right? If they skip a generation of their product, then they could have more margin for sales when it comes into later on down the road. So if we think about things like, for instance, the first one that comes to my mind is Samsung skipping their Note, right? Usually we would have a Note that comes out this year, but Samsung has announced that they're going to be skipping it. So a lot of other phone companies are probably going to be skipping certain phones. And if a phone is coming out and it's still brand new and 2 generations old, we could see some pretty decent sales on them. Some of these phones, we talked about it on a weekly tech news, but there was an article that came out and it said that some of these phones within 4 months of being released on the Android side dropped about 50% of their original retail value. And that's on the used market. So I don't expect a 50% price reduction, but we could get something that's, 25%, 30%, depending on the products.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. And I think now that things are slowly getting back to normal, they need to freaking like pump the economy right now big time.
Dogecoin.
Yeah, Dogecoin. They need to stimulate somehow. And I'm not talking about Dogecoin, but
we're trying to keep it monetized on this side.
They need to do something because it's when they sent the I don't know what they did there in Canada, but here in the States they gave us a stimulus package. I think it was like $1,400 this last one.
Yeah.
And people were literally buying Dogecoin with it, or they were blowing their money on something, but what they were trying to do is they were trying to pump the economy back up somehow. Yeah. So they're saying, here's money for you to go spend. And literally people didn't just spend it. They blew it on random stuff, know? So I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do. And you know what? I really do hope of course we always see Amazon go dirt cheap with their products. I'm really excited to see what everybody else is going to go do, because if you think about it, 2020 was such a hard year for everybody. And I think with all those companies that they have stock and stocks of product, dude, try to if they could go and say, hey, you know what? AirPods normally cost like $300. For them, it only costs them $80. Dude, if they were selling them at $90, they would fly off the shelves. They would just disappear. And I think that's what they need to do. They need to be like, you know what? We're gonna drop the prices where we make just a little bit of profit. It's almost breaking even. But if they can do that, people as they're slowly getting back to normal, not only can it help the companies at least see some sort of profits within their products that's sitting around in the shelves, but it can make room for the new stuff that's going to be coming out soon. So I hope I see something like that.
The only way I can see hot ticket items like that have a decent price tag when it comes to this year's Prime Day is if it was a limited quantity lightning deal. Like you got to be on the ball, ready to click, purchase and buy, because there's a lot of hot ticket items that people are waiting. There's bots set up, there's chat set up, there's notifications set up, because as soon as they're on the market, even at retail prices, they're gone. Right. So,
and I think that's fine. Like all these people that are the bots selling the PlayStations, like trying to like grab every single PlayStation, do it. Because the thing is that we're slowly starting to see faster restocks.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to happen to the dude that bought 100 PS5s?
Hey,
what's he going to do? Huh?
Leave me alone.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah, so I don't know, but it is going to be interesting to see because the day that we're recording this, there is an Apple event that's happening as well. And I know some people are looking at possibly seeing a new Apple TV. So could we see an old Apple TV going on sale, blowing it out before the new ones actually get in or whatever it is, right? So there's a couple events that are coming out this month, as well as a Samsung event that's happening at the end of this month as well. So it should be interesting to see what happens with the releases and how that affects the sales that are going to be happening. Because it's not just Amazon Prime Day. When Amazon Prime Day happens, we also get Best Buy sale, and we also get a Walmart sale, and then everyone else decides to jump on the bandwagon too. So,
yeah, for sure.
So here's something crazy. It says GameStop, the CEO forfeits over 587,000 shares for not meeting targets. And, you know, I had so many people I would see, and they're like, I'm buying into GameStop. And I'm like, you know nothing about investing. Don't just invest blindly. Yeah. Just because the internet is talking about something doesn't mean you dump all your money into it, unless it's Dogecoin. I'm just joking. I'm not telling you what to do with your money.
Dogecoin, 37 cents.
I know. I see it. So the article goes on to say the correct value of the forfeit shares in second paragraph to about 98 million from 9.8 million. GameStop corporate chief executive officer George Sherman has forfeited more than 587,000 shares as he failed to meet his performance targets, according to the regulatory filing on Wednesday. The forfeit shares, originally granted in April 2019, would be worth about 98 million based on the stock's latest closing price. GameStop is currently looking for a new, wow, he gave his shares up and they booted him to replace him as it pivots from a brick and mortar video game retailer to an e-commerce firm. Here's the crazy thing though. Your stock was worth pennies compared to what it's worth right now. You could have sold half of those shares and reinvented your whole business. Like legitimately. You could have been like, okay, listen, we are moving, we're going to become the next Amazon, and turn it into a little tiny sweatshop of just shipping out packages and put one in like every few cities. And everyone that was working in the retail place has an option to join into this little baby GameStop Amazon deal that you have going on and go full-fledged e-commerce. But I don't think they really understood what was happening with Wall Street bets and the meme market pushing up their funds. Like the internet was trying to give them an extra life, for a lack of a better term. They're like, here, you get a one-up. And they were like, what's going on? And they just kind of looked around. I don't know, man. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think what they did was, they made him get rid of those shares because they're going to fire him. You know, and I think, see, it's kind of hard. Like, I don't know. I feel bad for the guy because there's only so much you can do when you sit up that high, you know?
So here's a question for you. It says they made him forfeit the shares that is worth $98 million according to the share price right now. He doesn't get $98 million. He doesn't pass go. He doesn't collect, right? Damn. You imagine that? That's garbage. You would have to be paid out something. Like, you can't just take $98 million from somebody, right?
I'm sure he got some kind of severance,
Right.
something, you know. He has to collect some kind of something for it, because like don't nothing. It's like you're out, you're done, get out of here. So 587,000 shares and they said originally granted in 2019 worth about $98 million. It's crazy. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I feel bad for the guy. I don't know where that goes. I'm pretty sure he must have gotten something, but I don't know, man. I have a feeling I just have like game to me, when you look at GameStop, it's kind of like, okay, how many people are going to like a GameStop store where they just sell video games?
Right.
Like stuff like that doesn't exist anymore. Like look at Toys R Us. You can't go to Toys R Us to buy toys. You have to go to Target, where they have clothes, toys, food, electronics, or like Best Buy. They got like washers, dryers, TVs, DVDs, cell phones. Like
DVDs?
Yeah, they got DVDs still.
Yeah, I know.
They, dude, it's crazy because like it's almost like a comedy show. Like you have to go to a variety show in Vegas to see like a whole bunch of different things, because they don't just like these stores, they're not just selling a thing anymore. It's multiple things.
Right.
And GameStop, it's I don't know, like every time I think of GameStop, I think of Toys R Us. I can't think of any other store that exists now that just sells one thing besides GameStop.
You know, it really changed when the consoles and the console developers or companies created their own game stores within their platforms to digitally download the games. Because at that point, you no longer had to wait in line to buy a game, right? People used to wait in lines to buy games.
Yeah.
Now you can. I was looking at an MLB game last night, and they were like, "I can pre-order this." Isn't that the same as me waiting in line? Except my Xbox does it for me.
Mm-hmm. Dude, back in the day, what they used to do when the Nintendo Wii came out, dude, my local GameStop used to have tournaments.
Yes.
Used to go there, and they had freaking Smash Brothers Brawl, whatever it's called. And dude, you would just go put your name on a paper, sign up, and then they call you out, and then you go fight somebody. Mm-hmm. Winner goes up to the next ladder. They had where you're playing Guitar Hero, and they had two different screens playing the exact same song at the exact same time. Whoever had the better score moved on. And it was just, dude, like, to me, when I went to GameStop to do that, it was fun. Like Smash Brothers, I picked it up on the day before launch when they had the tournament. And I remember I took my baby sister with me, and I took a couple friends, and they had pizza, they had sodas, they had ice cream, and dude, this was like it was like in July, summer of whenever that game came out for the Wii, and it was like it was like 90 degrees at night, dude. It was like hot that day. And I know 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So for you, that's probably like 40 something Celsius. Yeah. Hot.
I can't do the math right now.
Just Google it.
Okay, it's fine.
But dude, we would go there late at night, and they fed us. We played games. We met other people. It was fun. Those days are gone, dude.
I remember there used to be trucks that would go around at different events, and they were gaming trucks. And you would go up, and they would have TVs and stuff, and you would game. But here's the problem: as much as we had fun doing that, that was before the internet and gaming. Like now, people don't leave their house. People don't even leave their TV area. Like my son's walking around the house with his Xbox controller and his headphones on, talking to both the people on his Xbox and the Discord server that is attached to whatever game that he's on a voice call with them. And that's the evolution of social media when it comes to gaming. Like it started with us going to game arcades and dropping our quarters on top of the actual arcade machine. We're like, all right, we're up next. Here's our quarters. And then we got the actual consoles in our house, and we would beg to either go over to our friends' houses or for our friends to come over to our house. And we would literally just game all day, all night, don't sleep. That's what it was. But now we don't need to have the person with us. We don't need to go to an arcade. And it's only gotten compoundingly worse with the pandemic. Even our closest normal to what our normal was 2 years ago isn't going to be anything like what it was. Like, even I would love to say, why doesn't GameStop revamp all of their brick and mortar stores and have like a back end black like draped off area where you would have your multiple TVs and you can run your gaming events, and then in the front they could do, I don't know, munchies and snacks, and then a couple like gaming accessories and stuff and whatever. But the problem is there's going to be such a push for maintaining a certain level of healthcare standards that everyone's just going to choose to stay at home.
Yeah,
at least I think so. So
it's going to be interesting how they're doing it. I know we're living in a different times for sure. And speaking living in a different times, meme cryptocurrency Dogecoin is outperforming all its big name rivals. So I know you've heard us talk about Dogecoin. We're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking a lot about just crypto at first. And we're slowly talking more into Dogecoin. And I think that's me more pushing it on next level way back when. And now it's like, you kind of have to look at it and be like, dude, it is what it is. The freaking dog is on the moon or going to the moon still. He's blasted off. But about an hour ago, Dogecoin briefly became the world's 4th largest cryptocurrency. It is insane. It hit 42 cents, and they're referring it to as Doge Day. Doge Day. It's nuts. It hit 42 cents and then it backed down to 35 cents pretty quick. The spike overtook XRP to become the 4th largest cryptocurrency in the world. And at the same time, Bitcoin dropped like 10%. It's crazy. It's nuts what it's doing. And I think, I don't know, man, like, I know we were kind of briefly talking about this, but when you look at like, okay, so if you guys don't know, I know we've said this a couple times, but Dogecoin is a meme coin. They just made it just to make fun of a cryptocurrency. It was literally like, hey, I'm just going to make this up, just for the hell of it. Imagine me making an NFT saying, hey, I'm going to make an NFT for a joke, for fun. And I do something really stupid on this thing. And let's just say it all of a sudden goes viral like 4 years from now. And all of a sudden the NFT I sold it for, let's say, $1 million. And all of a sudden it's worth like $100 million. You know what I mean? I did it as a joke. I did it for no means necessary, just for the hell of it. And all of a sudden it went viral. That's kind of what happened with Dogecoin. when it was a fork of a fork of a fork of a fork, and it took off pretty big. The interesting thing about this though is, there's a lot of people that are not taking Dogecoin serious, or even better yet, cryptocurrency as a serious money thing.
Store of value. It is a store of value. Cryptocurrency is a store of value. And the more people that buy into it, that value is increased, right?
Right.
And when you exchange cryptocurrency with somebody else, or you buy something with it, you are exchanging value, right? It is different from what's considered to be fiat currency, which is your US dollars, your Canadian dollars. Typically, there's a lot. How do I say this and say it in a way that makes sense? Because most cryptocurrencies are limited in some way by the amount that they're going to have on the market. And they can't just go on there. Now, Dogecoin's a little bit different. They can keep printing Dogecoin if they want to, but things like Bitcoin, actually, yeah, I don't know if there's a limit to Dogecoin. I don't think there is. Last time I researched it, but
there's no. Bitcoin is the only one
that has a limit,
that has a cap. Everybody else, including Ethereum and all of them, there's no caps.
But there is things that are coded into it to help how much of that coin is on the market, right? And what I was trying to get at is that when the governments typically need more money, they just turn on the printers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it affects the value of what that's worth, right? It's very different when we're dealing with cryptocurrencies, and it's fueled by people's belief and how that cryptocurrency makes them feel. And the better that cryptocurrency makes people feel is the more that it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And because I can, as a Canadian, send directly Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever coin I want, Sailor Moon coin, doesn't matter, to Rojas, and it doesn't have to be converted. Whatever it's valued at my side is going to be whatever is valued at on his side, and it's a direct from my pocket or my wallet to his pocket and his wallet. And that's the beauty of cryptocurrency all in itself, right?
Now, something kind of, there's always something that pisses me off every week. So there's a news reporter in the great city of Los Angeles, California, LA. There's a news reporter, idiot. First thing I'm just going to call him, you're an idiot.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. And this guy, he was saying, he starts laughing. He says, he's like, I can't believe we're actually going to be talking about this, but Dogecoin has been in the conversation, and he went off script. You could tell, how they're reading the script and you can tell what they're supposed to say.
Yeah.
You can tell he didn't want to do it. You can tell he didn't want to read it. You can tell he didn't want nothing to do with this. And he says, cryptocurrency scares me because there's no real backing behind any of it. No Bitcoin, no Ethereum, no Doge, no nothing. He's like, wherever all this is coming from, if governments wanted to say, hey, we're going to shut it all off.
Yeah.
Then it's offline. There's nothing that nobody can do. They'll just block everything from trading, from mining, from whatever. If you have an internet and you're connected to it and the internet says, oh, you're mining, we're going to shut it off. We're going to shut your internet off. And he was talking about how there's no real value on cryptocurrency. And then one of his co-anchors or whatever, the anchor, he wasn't even an anchor. He was just one of those guys out in the streets, he works he's a news reporter, but he's out in the street. And they tell him, when you get a credit card, when you buy a credit card, or not when you buy a credit card, but when you get a credit card, you don't have that physical money either. You never do. You have a piece of plastic that you could swipe. And they're like, what about Venmo? What about Cash App? With all these apps that you're transferring money back and forth. You know, you're moving money back and forth. You're not physically touching it, but you're definitely moving it. What is a digital currency different? You could say, hey, I'm putting a value to this, and now everyone's going to buy into that value.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say, hey, I'm going to put $100 on that value. And if like the United States dollars or the Canadian dollar, if it goes up in value, your $100 or 100 whatever stocks or trades or whatever you did goes up in value with it.
Right.
If it goes down, it goes down. And they're saying I could easily put $100 on Bitcoin, and if the value of it goes up, I could easily pull that money out, and I have that money physically now.
Mm-hmm.
There is no difference between your bank and my bank, your credit card to my credit card, your Bitcoin to my Bitcoin. It's a value that we get to put on. And he's like, it doesn't matter. Look at eBay. You could throw something that's worth 5 cents to recycle, like a soda can.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm like, hey, this is a limited edition, whatever, and this is the last one in the world in its condition, it's never been opened or whatever, how much can this be worth then? And it depends on the person. Like if somebody, like, I'll tell you this, I'll make a really, really, really good example here. The Coca-Cola factory, the big factory is in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if you knew that. You could actually, could take a, go ahead.
I worked for Coke at one point in my life.
Really?
There's a big Coke plant in the city I live in. So I worked there for about just over a year, but
nice.
it was too much. It was just too much.
So their main place where like Coke was born, and they have the secret recipe and all that stuff. It's in Atlanta, you know, and you could go take a tour and everything. At the end, you could try all the Cokes from all over the world. It's pretty cool. Back in the day, when you were exiting into their gift shop, they would give you a glass bottle. And it would be a glass bottle of Coke.
Right.
You open it up, walk out with it, you're good. Well, of course, people were being stupid with their glass bottle of Cokes, and they're breaking the glasses, and some people got in some fights. Of course, somebody has to ruin it, you know? And they stopped doing it. The last year that they were doing it, it was one of their anniversaries. Dude, I have 4 of those bottles downstairs in my kitchen on display. 4 of them. And they have the anniversary sticker on them. What say you if those are... What say you?
Hear ye. What say you?
So imagine there is, or let's say you're a huge Coke fan, and you're like, dude, I want those 4 bottles. Let's just say no bottle exists out there for that anniversary, and I have the last 4 in the world. How much can it be worth? How much are you willing to pay?
And that's what it comes down to. That's literally what it comes down to. Here's something. This has blown my mind, and I've started to use this example a bunch of times. And I'm sorry if you guys are tired of hearing us talking about this topic, but we're not done yet. So my girlfriend is part of a Facebook group. It is legit a Facebook group about napkins. I'm waiting for your facial reaction on this one, right? So there is literally a market for interesting designed napkins that people are willing to spend 75 cents to $1 per napkin if the design interests them. So if you go to the dollar store and you pick up some interesting kind of napkins, there's a market out there that people are willing to spend 75 cents to $1 for each one of those napkins.
Interesting.
Because of the design, right? And this all comes back to people will spend money on something that connects to them personally, to a memory, a place, time, or one of their senses. And once companies, businesses, finances are able to make those connections, that's where value is born, right? When we look at the idea now of something that is not, it's decentralized, right? The issues that a lot of companies have had with doing e-commerce all around the world is fighting with the different currencies. And typically everyone's had to translate their money or exchange their money into USD when they're trading anywhere in the world. So not only are you getting hit with taxes, you're getting hit with the exchange fees, and then you're losing a good portion every time your fees are transferred in and transferred out. Cryptocurrency is the answer for that. And on top of that, because there's such a demand for it, especially Bitcoin, what makes Bitcoin different, like Rojas was saying, is that there is only ever going to be 21 million of Bitcoin on the market ever. And as more people buy into it, the supply goes down. And if the supply is going down and the demand is still there and higher than ever because more people are becoming more and more aware, it only goes up in value, right? When Tesla bought into it and said they were going to start to accept Bitcoin as a purchase of their vehicles, I think their vehicles are worth what, like $60,000? Yeah. And Bitcoin at the starting of this year was $10,000. You could have bought a $10,000 coin and by today bought a Tesla for something that would have cost you $10,000 4 or 5 months ago.
Yep.
Like, that's insane. I am going to throw out this quick thing just to kind of finish off this topic, but I saw a chart the other day and it was pretty interesting. It says years it took these assets to reach 1 trillion in market capitalization. Okay. Microsoft took 44 years. Apple took 42 years. Remember we talked about this on a podcast? Apple took 42 years, and then on the 43 year, they made another trillion.
Yeah.
Amazon took 24 years. Google took 21 years, and Bitcoin took 12. So for anyone out there that thinks that there's no value in cryptocurrency, it is an exponential growth with a market cap that rivals things like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and Google, and did it in less than half of the time that Google did and Amazon did. So if we want to believe in it or not, we can't deny that its progression over time and its acceptance into society and its place in the financial market is there.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
For sure.
So the next one's pretty interesting because I'm into crypto mining. I like doing it. It's fun. I like exchanging the coins that I mine for different coins and playing around the market. And it's given me a very good leverage in regards to learning about cryptocurrency without having to invest any real hard-earned money into it. I'm using the computer parts that I have. I make cryptocurrencies. I trade on the crypto market, and I kind of see how things go, and I get to learn that way. So the way that it works is that you're able to use things like your CPU and your GPU to mine for cryptocurrency. And there's an article that came out today that talks about Apple's M1 Max, which some people are saying, I'm not saying I'm saying this, but some people are saying that whatever silicone they use is some of the best on the market because they made these M1 processors and it literally just put Intel to shame. And Intel's been in the game forever. So these processors are really good. They were selling like hotcakes. Everyone loved the M1 processors, but the Apple M1 Max are already being targeted by crypto stealing malware. So if you have a powerful CPU, a powerful GPU, obviously the more powerful these chipsets are, is the more money you're going to make, or more Bitcoin or cryptocurrency you're going to make when you're mining on it. So obviously that's why they're being targeted, because they're able to produce more coins. Whew, man. So
It's nuts.
make sure you guys are staying protected. Like, don't download anything that looks fishy. Just
Don't click on anything that looks fishy. Yeah, I've seen that too, where people are like, "Hey, what is this?" and they click on it. It's just like, oh, like there's the famous text message that says your delivery is going to be delayed. Please click this to reschedule. And it's just like, did you buy anything? Do you know that you're supposed to get some kind of delivery? And some people were like, I don't know. I don't remember. It's like, dude, how do you not know if you bought something and if it's going to be delivered to you? I know when I buy something, I'm excited to when it's going to arrive. You know,
Right.
Don't be naive. Please don't be naive. Just don't do it. Yeah, it's crazy how the Apple M1s are just. I had a feeling that they're going to be destroying Intel stuff. I had a feeling that they're just going to be like, Intel's just been kind of like writing on the name, which I get. You know, it's cool, whatever. But damn, dude, like they just were literally, you know, they could have done more, but they didn't do more. You know what I mean?
They've just been pretty comfortable. They've been pretty comfortable. See, the thing is, Intel's owned every market when it's come to processors, right? So yes, there's been a lot of play when it comes to the commercial processors, but they're still in a lot of, commercial places, and a lot of bulk buys are still, they're still Intel, right? Like if you think about all the schools that have been buying all the desktops for their schools, I would imagine that a lot of that is still contracted out to Intel. So I would say that they've been comfortable. They're going to be doing something, because here's the interesting with the CPU market right now. The companies that were making GPUs only are now saying that they're going to make CPUs. And the companies that were CPUs only are now saying that they're going to make GPUs. So we have Intel saying they're going to make graphics cards. We have NVIDIA saying they're going to make processors. Yeah. Okay. So cryptocurrency is something that I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to challenge everybody out there. No matter who you are or what you do, you're going to have to learn about cryptocurrency one way or another. It is going to be the new language that takes us into the next step of our technical evolution, right? Think about the people that refuse to get a smartphone. That's going to be you if you don't start to understand what cryptocurrency is, because cryptocurrency is not just a coin. It's the evolution of what's called a blockchain. And on that blockchain, we have things like NFTs. And that is evolving into every kind of atmosphere. So NFTs are being attached to people that are creating content, creating works of art, creating whatever that wants to be sold on the blockchain. And we're getting to a point now where we're seeing people selling art for 60, 70, $80 million a pop. We've seen, what's that the sports betting website, Top Shots, I think it's called, right? And they're selling videos for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We see tweets that are being sold for $2.5 million. Like, there's some crazy things. I'm not going to get into the whole thing as to, unless you think I should, what an NFT actually is. But there was an article today that said, is it today? Yeah, today. And it literally says the morning after, turning pro in the NBA with an NFT. And the article goes on to say, in 2021, so of course the college athletes can't just turn pro. They have to mint an NFT. It says, announcing that one of these guys that are going into the NBA draft after launching an auction for a crypto token commemorating his iconic game-winning shot from the men's basketball tournament last month. The NFT manages to navigate the odd landscape of college athletes where they couldn't directly profit from his own highlights, but instead points to an artwork inspired by the pose he struck after the shot. The animated artwork will also reward its new owner with a signed pair of shoes that the person who took the shot, his name is Suggs, wore on that day. So even if the NFT crashes and burns, there will also be a physical collectible to remember their moment. At least at the last check, the highest bid was over $1,200 with 2 days left in the auction. I mean, doesn't sound like anything crazy at $1,200, but the whole idea is that NFTs have the ability to pay a commission every time they're bought and sold. Think about if NFTs were around back when Michael Jordan was still a rookie, and every time Michael Jordan, did something big and someone sold that NFT, he made a commission every time there was a new owner or there was another sale. That's where the big bang for your buck is as a content creator or someone dealing with an NFT.
This whole thing with NFT just confuses me. It's like everybody could watch this for free somewhere. And people are selling these videos or whatever it is, and it's crazy how we're heading to that direction. I'm waiting for there to be some sort of stock on this stuff, like eBay.
Well, there are NFT trading platforms, and some of these NFT trading platforms do have their own stocks.
Do they just do NFTs?
Man, a lot of these companies deal in crypto do like a million other things besides crypto. So it's hard to say that that's all this company does. I don't know any off the top of my head, but I've seen stocks that are related to NFTs being talked about, saying that they should go up because they deal in NFT platforms.
Right. See, I could see like if they did something like eBay, for example, that was an NFT only auction site place, that's what they do. And this company could sell other things too. But I mean, when you see eBay, you don't think about NFTs, you don't think about shoes, you don't think about TVs. You just think it's a place where you could buy a grip ton of stuff at auction. You make bids, you could do a buy now, you could sell, you could buy. There's a lot of things you can do.
Right.
If somebody has a platform out there or is gonna do a platform that just does NFTs and deals with NFTs specifically, I could see that. And if there's other companies out there that are dealing with this already, I can see stocks going up as NFTs continue to grow and grow, because they make more money, their value goes up. It just that's just how the world works. It's more money comes in, it's worth more. Your company's worth more. Everything becomes worth more. So I'm kind of interested how that is gonna work in the future. I know it's just barely starting this year with NFTs, but
100%. But the biggest thing about NFTs is that when they're created with what's called a smart contract. So it's kind of like a code saying if this happens, then that happens. Kind of the very basic of what it says, right? So if this is sold, then pay the original person this commission. But that's not the only if then do this then. You know what I mean? So because of that, it creates more value for the people that are creating it, and then the people who believe in whatever it is creates their own value all on their own. And we see this all the time. When people are getting paid to do what they're passionate about, they generally do it more and do it a little bit better, because when you make money off of creating something, you're able to displace that with time and put more time and effort into it.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. Very interesting. Okay, PlayStation. PlayStation has been on the news. Here is a PS5 restock dates. Newegg, Walmart, Costco, when to buy your PS5. So there's an app called, or in Telegram called Now in Stock. And I keep telling people, it's like, dude, it's not hard. Go on this app and have your notification turned on. It will tell you and notify you when it goes live. And when it does, you have to jump on it if you want to get your PlayStation. And it's funny because some people agree and some people really disagree with some of these things. I think back in November when people were buying those PlayStations and selling them for like $1,000, is it wrong selling it that much? I think so. Do they have the right to? They can sell it to however much they want. Like really, it's their product or it's theirs. It's their stuff. If I want to say, hey, I keep showing my can of NOS over here, my energy drink. I'm not sponsored by NOS, by the way. So if anybody asks, I'm not. But let's just say I'm over here saying like, hey, I bought a case of these NOS and I work in a warehouse, or a case of Coke, and I want to sell them for $1. You know those little mini Cokes.
Yeah. Like the 250 milliliter or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a sip and you're done.
Yeah.
So let's just say I work at a warehouse and I'm just like, hey, anybody want a Coke? $1.50. Anybody wants one? And let's just say it costed me like $2 for a 6-pack. I'm going to be making some money off of it. I have the right at that point to sell it whatever the hell I want. Let's just say we're out in the freaking desert and it's like 120 degrees out there, and I bring Costco water, those big freaking economy boxes of Costco, and the thing costed me like, I don't know, $8, and there's 30 of those water bottles in there. And I'm just like, hey, anybody want water? $5 a bottle.
Wow. But it is what it is, right? Supply and demand is the market.
Exactly. You thirsty? Hey, you know what? In about 5 minutes, it's going to go from 120 degrees to 130 degrees. And you know how much that bottle is going to cost you? $10. But see, the thing is you have the choice to either buy or don't buy. That's it. I think scalpers, the way they're doing it, where they're just like, hey, I got a piece PlayStation 5 for $2,000. I'm like, I could wait. Good for you that you set up a bot and you did all that stuff. Good for you. I whatever. I don't have anything against with how they do it. I just think it's pretty messed up on how they do price gouge, but they have the right to do it. Now, with that being said, with them setting up bots and stuff like that to purchase as many of those PlayStations as possible, keep in mind, even though you're sitting there waiting for a PlayStation and you haven't gotten one yet, one day there's going to be a lot of PlayStations in stock. And guess what? All these people with 100 PlayStations that they didn't sell, guess what? It sits there and they just blew their load and they made not much profit.
Again, we're trying to stay monetized here.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. But you know what I'm saying? It's to each their own. It does suck. And I do understand when people get pissed off because they want one. And I get it. Now, with all that being said, I'm not on this Now in Stock app all the time, on their website and Telegram, wherever. I'm not on it all the time. I've been able to score, I think it's been 5 or 6 PlayStations now. And I upsell them. I'm on my computer. I open up my app and I see when it pops up, and then I'll jump over there. Like, think about this. If this is my job and this is what I'm working, if I have to pause doing my work, this is my money. Remember, this is how I make money. If I have to stop doing what I'm doing to get you a PlayStation, someone's got to pay me for the time that I had to spend over there.
Right.
So if I say, hey, it costed, and this is the funny thing that I always crack about. People say like, dude, the PlayStation only costs $500. How are you going to charge me $600 or $700? And I'm just like, for one, there's one thing called taxes. It's not $500. It's $550, $560, whatever it is, Mm-hmm. I'm not paying for your taxes. Screw you, hippies. So if you live local, I normally charge $150 extra. So, and I normally have to drive somewhere to meet you. I normally say, hey, meet me halfway somewhere. I actually met a couple subscribers that bought one from me that live somewhat close, maybe like an hour, 2 hours away from me. And I'll have them drive the good chunk towards me, and I'll drive a little bit out towards them. I'm like, hey, you want it? Like you're the one that's got to be inconvenienced to come get it, but it won't be an inconvenience because you're getting your damn PlayStation. You know what I mean? So again, I got to stop doing what I'm doing to go drive out to give it to you. You know what I mean? So I'll make like $100 profit, maybe 150. But at the same time, when you look at like my gas, my time, and stopping my work to go do it, it's almost a wash. Anybody that I've ever sold outside of where I live, I normally charge like $100 for shipping because I'm not going to ship this thing without insurance on it. And I ain't paying for it. So, you're paying for the shipping. Now,
the way I kind of look at it as well, just to kind of add to what you're saying, it's exactly the same for me. I do have to upcharge a little bit, unless it's like a family member or a friend that just is dying to have one. I might be like, okay. But the thing is, we are not bots. And the only reason that we're able to get it is because we work online 24/7. We are on our computer. And we have to, as weird as it sounds, we have to battle the bots to get this for you, which means we are diverting our time and our attention away from whatever we're working on. Exactly what Rojas is saying in regards to our time is worth something, right? So if we're diverting away from a job or a task that is going to pay us a certain amount and that we're delaying our time, then we do have to get paid for our time or compensated in some way. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go out there and, buy a NVIDIA card for $2,000 and sell it for $5,000. It's just, we do have to have some kind of compensation because not only are we taking time out of our day from anything to purchase it, but also to sell it.
I agree. Now, with all that being said, because I know some people are going to be like, yeah, but that's wrong. You guys should sell it for cheaper. Dude, I could sell it to whatever the hell prices I want, and you either buy it or you don't. So we're going to try to help you guys here. Nowinstock.com, you could click on their things and they'll show you everything that's going to be available. They also have Telegram groups. That way, when you get the notification, you can get it. Now, if you get the notification and you're just like, hey, that notification came an hour ago, and I try to jump on their thing and it says they're sold out. Well, no kidding. It was an hour ago. You have to jump on it right as soon as it pops up. Now, here's a couple dates that are going to be coming up, and it's, whenever this podcast comes up, I know it's going to be this Friday, so it's kind of tricky with some of the dates, but this podcast comes out this Friday. There's going to be a drop this Friday. So when you're listening to this, they're saying Best Buy PS5 restock could happen this Friday. The one thing I will say here, and here's several dates. Target was rumored. It's going to be sometime this week, if not sometime early next week. Keep that in mind. The one thing I will say too is they're almost never in stock on the weekend. For it to be in stock in the weekend, chances are really hard to get. Typically, when you get these types of stocks, it's anywhere between Wednesday through Friday. Very rarely on a Monday or Tuesday, and even more rare on the weekend. So keep that in mind. April 23rd, rumored, Best Buy, around noon Eastern Standard Time. Keep that in mind, noon Eastern Standard Time. Mm-hmm. And the way it works is when you do jump on there, GameStop next week, early next week, they're gonna have stock. Sony Direct, they're gonna have 2 drops next week. When I mean by next week, I mean the week of April 26th through April 30th. PlayStation's going to have 2 drops. And yeah, Amazon, it's unknown. Sam's Club, it's like random weekdays at any time. Costco, same thing. But yeah, so best bet is PlayStation Direct twice next week. Best Buy is going to be this Friday. GameStop's going to be sometime early next week. The way you do it is when you go there and it says, hey, there's a stock, don't leave. Refresh the page. And even better, if it's GameStop or Best Buy, log into your account. If you don't have one, create one. It'll be the fastest and easiest way to do it. Do it now. All you have to do is refresh until it pops up. But make sure you guys do it in a what's it called? Incognito mode. Refresh it in incognito mode because it'll just be easier. GameStop kind of blocks. If you keep refreshing it, they think you're spamming. So open up a incognito mode, incognito browser, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine with GameStop. Best Buy, it doesn't really matter on if you're on a regular mode or incognito mode. If you hit refresh, you should be good. It'll make you do a CAPTCHA verification thing.
Right.
And then PlayStation or Sony Direct, don't refresh at all. Don't refresh at all because it
boots
resets
you out of your line.
Yeah, it boots you out of your line. Yeah. It boots you out of your line.
So some of the interesting things that I've been hearing is that if you click on a link to purchase it and say it's no longer in stock, some people are suggesting leave that in your cart. So the next time it comes in stock, then you just have to refresh your cart and just purchase it. So it's quicker.
Right.
The other thing is some websites are quicker when you're purchasing if you are signed into your account. So if you have an account with whatever website you're trying to buy it on, then be signed in because it'll make the process so much quicker.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
I had one in my cart yesterday, and because I didn't know my password and I had to reset my password, I didn't get that. Like
Yep. I just got one last week on Thursday from GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we were doing the live show. Remember Carson?
Yep.
Yeah, it was for him. So he came down yesterday to come pick it up. He's just like, hell you. He was all excited. So he came down yesterday, picked it up, hooked it up, and he's just like, dude, this thing's amazing. I'm like, I'm telling you, man. So it ain't hard to get, but you just have to be ready. Just make sure your notifications are ready.
The other thing is, here's something that I'm just starting to do. So I don't know if this is going to work for everybody, but I have a friend that lives in the States and I have an Amazon US account, right? So I also have an Amazon Canadian account. So I'm checking Amazon Canada and Amazon in the States. Now, typically, Amazon in the States will not ship to people in Canada. So I have his address up. And if I land one, I haven't even told him this yet, but I've mailed him something through Amazon before. But if something comes up, I'm mailing him that graphics card and then he'll just mail it to me.
Nice.
So that'll kind of, because the States typically gets a lot more stock than we do in Canada. You guys have like 9 or 10 times more people than we do. So it just makes sense you guys get more stock. So I'm trying to play both fields here.
Get back in the closet.
Oh man, it's crazy. So, I know it's almost becoming a running thing. Almost in every single episode, we talk about cryptocurrency and we talk about Elon Musk. The last episode was a weird one with a weird voice command that I'm not going to repeat in this show. So if you guys want to hear what that weird voice command was, make sure you go check out that weekly tech news from last week. It's very interesting what they're doing with the whole memeing and promoting their products and crypto to the moon and all this stuff. Anyways, there's an article that came out that I thought was super interesting because people are starting to play the blame game, right? And I don't know which side you guys are going to be on. So I want you guys to comment down below and tell me which side you're on. So what had happened was that I believe it was two guys in Houston took their Tesla out for a drive, for a spin, and they ended up, unfortunately, getting into a car accident, and they didn't make it out, right? The media had put out an article, and the article stated that the car was in autopilot mode and hit a tree. And Tesla, or not Tesla, but Elon Musk responded to this by saying that car doesn't even have autopilot as one of its features. And then he started saying things like, even if it did, then autopilot needs to see certain things in order for it to be enabled. And it was just a huge back and forth. And I think that there is going to be a big transition and a lot of fear every time there's an accident when it comes to a car with autopilot, right? Cars get into accidents all the time, but when we talk about a car that has the possibility of being in autopilot mode getting into an accident is something that's very new, and it brings a lot of fears in. Even if autopilot's not even involved, everyone's automatically going to assume it was the autopilot, it wasn't the person at fault. But in most situations, AI is better at responding to situations than actual people are.
Yeah. So I did read a tweet.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, this doesn't make sense. There are safety measures in place with the autopilot seat. It's weighted to make sure there is a driver. So the seat's like, oh, there's somebody sitting here.
That's because the people, when they found them, were actually in the back seat of the car. So I left that out of the details.
Mm. It also says hands must be on steering wheel every 10 seconds or it disengages. Autopilot doesn't go over the speed limits, so it's impossible. So they're saying, do your research or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then it says your research as a private individual is better than professionals. Data logs recovered so far show autopilot was not enabled, and this car did not purchase FSD. Moreover, standard autopilot would require lane lines to turn on, which this street did not have. Mm-hmm. So it's saying like there's no way, just no way.
Right. When he says the data logs were recovered, it makes me think that cars are all going to have a little black box like airplanes are.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I was reading a couple articles talking about how the people ended up in the back seat, and they were saying that their doors weren't probably opening and they were trying to get out through the back, and the car was on fire, so that's how they ended up in the back. So I don't know, it's just a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, and a lot of finger pointing. If the car didn't have autopilot, it's almost like fake news or false advertising, or what's the word I'm looking for? Infringing on somebody's character, right? Because they're automatically going after and saying fake news against a topic that they don't have all the information on. You can't blatantly come out and say autopilot did this, so it's Tesla's fault, not the person that's actually driving it. So that is kind of infringing on their character at some point if they don't have all the information.
Yeah. I get it. It doesn't make sense to me. It's
oh man,
I don't know.
The picture of the car is crazy.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Damn.
It's crazy. It's the other thing that was funny too is, speaking on Tesla, they had a car convention in China, and there was a woman that stood on top of a Tesla car, and she is the Model S, I think it is.
Okay.
She owns a Tesla, and she said she's screaming Tesla's brakes fail, and that she's gotten in multiple car accidents from her Tesla, and she keeps screaming Tesla's brakes fail. I guess later on I guess, you know how there's like sensors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The lady is texting and playing on her phone while she has her foot on the gas, and she's crashing to people. She's expecting the car to stop completely before hitting anybody. And she just figures like, well, my car is just going to drive while I'm playing on my phone and my foot's on the gas.
How do these people? Okay, so I get it. You have a car with autopilot. It's got a bunch of safety features. Irregardless, if you don't actually drive the vehicle, anybody that gets into the driver's seat, if you're driving or not, if it's an autopilot or not, you have a driver's license. But I guess a driver's license doesn't mean you have common sense. How?
You know, it's going to be very interesting with driver's license when you have these autopilot features and people don't know how to drive anymore because they're like, auto drive, just let it do its thing. And it's going to, I bet you anything, they're going to have to do a completely different test if you are purchasing. I bet you anything is going to be like, you know how you have like, oh, I don't know what they have up there, but up in the north, but our driver's license is a C license, which is a car. You have A and B. I think one of them's for like motorcycles, and then the other one's for like commercial trucks. You know, I don't know which one's which or how it works, dude. They're gonna make a freaking license D for dumbasses. Actually, for Dogecoin.
To the moon.
To the moon. Anybody who buys a freaking Tesla or a car that has auto whatever features, you're gonna get the D. No pun intended on that, you pervs. Okay, so last thing we want to talk about, Stranger Things. Super excited. Again, we're slowly coming out of this pandemic thing. And I don't even know if we're actually really coming out, but that's not here or there. Anyway, Stranger Things has announced season 4, but I am very bummed because I know we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. It may not release till 2022. They're talking about in this article just came out. They're saying one of the actors, Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike in Stranger Things, you know, everybody's been waiting to go back and record and start working and everything. It's funny. They're saying that like Stranger Things is Netflix's flagship show. Like it's what's making them money, you know?
Well, it is a very popular show.
It's very popular. So July 9th of 2019 was when season 3 premiered, all the episodes. And of course, season 4 was supposed to come out probably around the summertime of 2020. But obviously with the whole pandemic and everything, I don't know if they were able to record anything at all. But a lot of people are being very nervous with how to get back on the road, especially when you're dealing with kids, young actors. So yeah, it looks like they're going to start production again. And they're going to start recording soon, and maybe we'll see this come back out next year. I'm actually very nervous because if it does come out and if they do take that long and if it doesn't kick off, I have a feeling they're going to stop this pretty soon. I think they might be like a season 5 finale. I hope not.
I hope
that TV shows don't do that. I hope that if they need to take a break, they take a break and don't just end stuff. Because I'm tired of all these interesting shows that come out and die after the first season. Because like we are of a society now that we binge watch a whole season in a day. Right.
Yep.
But if I only got one season like that, like, do I want to make, I know it sounds weird. Do I want to make that investment of a whole day binge watching a whole season and then knowing that there's not a second one for me to go into? Right. Like, it's just crazy. I'd rather companies just say, hey, listen, we gotta pause for the cause and we'll figure this out once things cool down again. Because here's the thing. Yes, we all know that TV shows and movies is a big production, but there's a lot of moving hands and a lot of people that come in from different countries. For instance, Finn actually lives in Vancouver, right? And I would assume that some of their production is obviously done in the States. And every time you go from country to country, you have to quarantine for 14 days, I think, in most countries now. So even if he was to go from BC to the States to record, he's got to quarantine for 14 days. As an actor that just wants to get stuff done, sitting there for 14 days and knowing everyone's right outside my dressing room and I can't go say hi, like that's got to drive you nuts. But it's not just him, right? You got cameramen, you got light men, you got, you know, some people have stunt doubles, you got all kinds of stuff, and they all have to figure out how to work in a way that is like socially distanced and safe for everybody. And then you got to have additional staff in to make sure that everything's clean, sanitary. So it's a very tedious thing that is going to take something that typically would have taken a long time, even longer.
Yeah, absolutely. It sucks.
They better not do this with Ozark. I'll be so mad if Ozark is delayed.
Dude, I haven't started Ozark yet.
What? Ozark is like, oh my God.
It's on my list.
Dude.
I have a lot of things that I'm still catching up on.
There is not very many shows that is up there for me as like one of my top shows. And Ozark is one of my top shows. And it consecutively got better for me every season. And there's not a lot of shows that can consecutively get better every season. Right?
Yeah.
Usually the first season's your banger. Second season's like, all right, that potentially could be better than your first season because first season builds context and then you go into the plot, right? The plot thickens like a good gravy.
Oh man.
But oh man, but Ozark, I wish there was a million seasons of Ozark, man. I would watch that shit all the time. Ozark is my jam.
So I should be watching it soon, but I will say this. There's several shows because of the pandemic and of course ratings and everything that they've just said we're done.
Yeah.
I know Supergirl, they're kind of a roller coaster. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's a cute show.
Oh, what's the other one? Stargirl. They
did like one season or two seasons.
Something like that. But like you were saying, it's a cute show.
Stargirl's a cute show. It's all right.
It's okay. Like I watched it because there was no other superhero-ish kind of movies on. So I was like, I'll watch this.
I hope they continue doing it. And I hope it gets better because they just opened up the doors for like the new team to start. Black Lightning is done after this season.
Yeah.
That one was, again, another roller coaster. It was getting really, really good. And then it started to slowly die down. And then it got really good. And then, okay, we're beating this with an ugly stick now.
So these are DC shows you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So I have to ask this question because honestly, the only one that I really care about is The Flash. And I feel like The Flash was kind of pulling the other ones along. So they would get really good when they were gearing up to do a crossover episode. And then when they didn't do the crossover episode, it was like nobody really cared anymore.
I would say Arrow was the better show than The Flash. Arrow was very...
Okay. I would agree with you when it comes, and I know you're going to be like, well, what else is there? I would agree with you when it comes to storyline. Because I think Arrow has a better written storyline than the Flash does, because the Flash is very recycle, repeat, recycle, repeat, recycle,
Very.
repeat.
Dude, every season it's exactly that. It's like, oh, here comes the Flash. Now
Right.
he's gonna fight somebody who is a speedster.
Yeah.
Okay, season 2. Here is the Flash fighting another speedster.
Mhm.
Now here is season 3. Okay, Flash, another speedster. And
Season
then
4 's not a
season
speedster,
4. Huh?
Season 4 is not a speedster.
His daughter was a speedster. I think she came in season 4.
But okay, it always involves another speedster, not always a villain. Whatever. Anyways,
Exactly.
the thing I like about the Flash is that the characters are very relatable to me, and I do enjoy their humor and their characteristics and personalities that I tend to relate better to than some of the ones in Arrow. But I don't deny that it has a better storyline at the same time.
And you know what? I like the Flash. It's not like I don't.
Right.
I was very, dude. Okay, so this is what we did. I marked because Gotham was going on.
Mhm.
I literally, we had a notepad and we wrote down at the top Gotham, Supergirl, Arrowhead, Flash, DC. And then right below it, we marked the dates of every single episode that came out. So that way we could watch it in order of how it actually came out.
Right.
And the reason why I did that was because I found out that sometimes a character from one of the other shows will pop in. So season 1 and 2, I think Gotham was already going by itself.
Yeah.
Arrow came out and then the Flash. And it was kind of like, oh, like some of these characters are coming from Arrow to DC to not DC to DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Some of the characters left from the Flash to there.
Snark.
Yeah. Like all these characters were, made this thing, and I'm just like, I'm like, you know what? Let me write these dates down. I think that's when I started to watch it. And I started from the beginning, and I started to get to watch it, and I see how people were leaving and going there and forming and jumping around. So I was very involved with that whole universe.
Yeah, for sure. The problem with DC though is that they didn't have the same publicity as Marvel, right? Which means that they should have advertised the fact that all the shows are intertwined a little bit better. Everyone knew with the Marvel movies that they're all going to intertwine. They're all working towards something. But DC, like you were just explaining, they did a very good job building up their TV universe, right? And intertwining it. But nobody knew, and because nobody knew, everyone was confused and they just didn't care anymore.
Yeah, and the thing too is when they were like hyping up the movies, they're like, ooh, we're gonna do the same thing that Avengers did with the Justice League. And it's just like, can we get a good Superman movie? Like Wonder Woman was okay, but it was very like, hey, let's follow Captain America's formula and make it a girl called Wonder Woman. What's sad about it is everything about Wonder Woman when they were in her world was badass.
Yes.
Everything.
First 5 minutes.
Yeah, the first 5 freaking minutes of both movies, it was like, oh, cool. And even on the Justice League movie, when they showed them there in their world, I'm like, this is cool. All the women are there. They're training. They're fighting. She's young. They're doing all this crap. It's like awesome. As soon as she leaves, for me, it just dips, dude. It's just like, oh my gosh.
You're like, stop it.
But I do agree. I wish they would have worked together and said, hey, let's market this. Like, hey, this is a universe. But at the same time, they like themselves, they're not taking themselves serious when they're just like, hey, let's make a Flash on this TV show. And then at the exact same time, well, not same time, but while that season is going through, let's make a Justice League movie and cast a brand new Flash. What they could have done literally is they could have brought these characters in like, dude, like, I call it Paw Patrol, but what is the Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol. Yeah, Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol, Doom Patrol. If they would have had some of those characters where they're just like, hey, I gotta go, or if they would have had like Batman land in their episode at the end, and they're just like, we need to talk, freaking end credits done, you know, and then the season's over, and then this movie comes out, dude. If they would have done that, there's no need to explain anything in the movie. The only thing that's going to happen is like what you just said, they do a commercial saying that the TV show is intertwined with their movies. And then now all of a sudden you have a relationship with these TV characters on the big screen. And you don't have to do origin movies. You don't have to do none of that. It's done. You have the character, you have the actor, you have all of it. Do your freaking movie and boom, take off with it. And then they could have ended their TV shows on a really good note and then do the movies. But did they do that? That would have been something completely different than what Marvel did. And they would have been able to say, hey, Marvel, hi, we can do it too in our own freaking way. Instead, this is why I get so pissed off with DC, because it's like they have some great characters and they can do some great stuff with it, but they keep throwing up all over themselves, you know?
So I agree with you, but for a whole other reason. The reason I agree with you is for a marketing reason. And when I say that is because more and more people are watching this stuff streaming on one platform or another, right? Commercials don't work the same way as they do before. So they do need to do a better job explaining the crossovers through story than just promoting it on a commercial somewhere. Like they need to like do the initial episode like hinting at crossing over with another, you know, DC TV show, like, or just drop subtle hints as the TV show is going. Like if you can't get the actors and actresses from different shows together, then you can still drop hints. They can still talk about each other. You know what I mean? And I think that you need to now more than ever intertwine that in the actual storylines versus commercials, because who watches commercials anymore? Commercials today are so much different than commercials were yesterday. Commercials today are all about products, right? Like the platforms themselves will advertise certain things. Like we all know what Disney is going to be releasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know that there's going to be trailers for certain things, but back when we used to watch cable would put out, you know, this Thursday on, I don't know, blah, blah, blah channel, you're going to see this and this. We don't have those kind of commercials anymore. Those don't exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
They're gone. So there has to be another way to advertise the storylines. And the best way to do it, because everybody's streaming, is to actually write it directly into the storyline itself. So that's why I agree with you.
Yeah.
Which is completely different from kind of what you were saying, but agreeing with you at the same time.
Yeah. And that's okay. I really do think they just need to do something, man. It's just, I don't know. They could have really done something different and special with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because now that Disney, like think about it, like some of the TV shows that Disney had,
yeah,
or that Marvel had, none of them connected with the movies. You know, you had Daredevil, Jessica Jones, freaking Heroes for Hire, none of those. The Shield and Peggy Carter, that came after they were introduced in the movies.
Yeah.
After the fact. And right now what they're doing is they're saying like, okay, cool. Now that we have our whole universe set up, let's do WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Those are characters that we know. Now they're taking it a whole freaking step further. Hey, Moon Knight. Who? What?
Yeah.
Who's that? Here comes She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Where? Like, right. Dude, you know what I mean? They're I don't know. For me, it's like DC had it in their hands to do something, and they didn't do it.
You know, Disney took a breather. They took a moment when they bought over Marvel. And I can actually say at this point that I'm happy that they did. Because if they just bought it over and just Disneyfied it, I'm going to, it's a word, I swear, from the beginning, it could have been what DC is right now, right? If they just went in and said, we're changing everything, this is going to be, a Mickey Mouse show from now on, I know, then it wouldn't have worked the same way. So I'm happy they took a moment and took a breather. And I'm also happy that a company like Disney that has the funding to support the different studios as entities within themselves continued or bought it over, because you can tell with each individual thing that comes out on Disney, it is a production without any outside influence, right? When we look at, what Lucasfilms has been producing inside of Disney, you almost can tell the only influence that Disney has on Lucasfilms and Marvel is money, because the production value is on point.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Like the content is still the content, but you can tell that the production value has gone up that next level to the next bar. And, I think there was some articles that were coming out stating that every episode of something like The Mandalorian was like, what, 2 million or something like that per episode. So it's definitely gone up a lot higher. And the special effects that we're seeing in TV shows is movie grade. Do you remember how cheesy special effects were in TV shows years ago? They were completely different than the special effects that were in movies. Like you could be like, okay, that was cheesy, but this is a TV show and I accept that. Now you're like, I'm not accepting anything that's not movie grade special effects.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, especially with what Disney's doing nowadays. It's like, 100%. Damn, dude. So hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, man. This is a good one. This is a good long one. There's a lot of topics that we talked about, a lot of good stuff. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. We always try to give you guys a lot of good stuff out there. So anything that you need to close us out with next level?
You know what I say, man? A lot of people are enjoying these conversations. They're getting more in depth. They're getting more robust, and they are including a lot of different topics. A lot of people come to these specific series and shows to get their daily tech news, their weekly tech news, or just interesting articles and facts or conversations that's going on in the world around them. So if you're enjoying it, make sure that you hit those thumbs up. You write us a review if you're watching on the podcast, and you make sure to comment down below and share with a family member or a friend. It does help the algorithm to allow other people like yourself to find the content that we're putting out. And we do appreciate all of your support as always. So make sure you check out the links in the description below as well for all of the different things that that we recommend. And it is what it is. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Sweet. Thanks again, guys. And yeah, stay tuned to the next episode because you never know who's going to be here. We got a lot of cool stuff coming. So yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
Peace out.